In the past videos, we studied about the cycles of 4 eras that affect our planet. The cycles of Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga go on cyclically, like the seasons of the year. Each complete cycle of 4 eras is called Chatu Yuga or Divya Yuga, and it lasts for a total of 12,000 celestial years, or 4.32 million years of our time. It may seem like a very long period, but it's actually just a moment in the cosmic scale of time. It's described, for example, that inhabitants of Indraloka, one of the celestial planets of Swargaloka, live for 10,000 celestial years. From there, we can see that not only the living standard, but also the perception of time in different planets of the cosmos differ. What's almost a complete universal cycle for us, it's just a lifetime for such higher beings. The cycle that affects the inhabitants of the higher planetary systems more directly is the Manvantara. To understand this next cycle, we need to understand how our universe is managed. Although the modern understanding is that everything works by just the combination of physical laws, the Vedas explain that the different forces that control the universe are under the supervision of higher beings called Devas, like Indra, Surya, Vayu, etc. Although the term Deva is usually translated as demigod, the Devas are also mortal beings, like you and me. It's just that because of their qualification, they receive positions of trust where they become responsible for controlling the forces of nature. Their positions can be compared with those of ministers, that although regular human beings receive the power and responsibility of looking over certain aspects of the state. The names attributed to them are actually posts that are occupied at different times by different personalities. The current Indra, for example, is called Purandara, and the next will be Bali. A Manvantara is composed of 71 Chaturyugas and lasts for a total of 852,000 celestial years, or 306,720 million years of our time. The events at the end of a Manvantara are much more dramatic than the events at the end of a Kali Yuga, resonating all over the cosmos. All the Devas led by Manu, who jointly control the forces of nature and maintain the universe in balance, live for a period of a single Manvantara. When the period is concluded, they pass away and a new generation of superior beings has to take their places. During this time, there are many disturbances in the universe, and it takes some time until things get back on track. During this period, life in our planet ceases almost completely, and everything starts again with the advent of a new Manu, who receives the mission of repopulating the universe with all the different species of life. This period of transition is called Sandhya, and it lasts for 1.728 million years. The next cosmic cycle is called a Kalpa, and it lasts for a total of 4.32 billion years. At the end of this period, the planets and other structures of the universe are completely destroyed, and only the material elements remain. There is then an equally long period of darkness, and finally the cycle of creation and destruction repeats. The Kalpa cycles correspond to the days and nights of Brahma, the universal architect. During the 4.32 billion years of his day, the different cycles of the universe goes on, and the universe remains dormant during the 4.32 billion years of his night. Although very powerful, Brahma is a living being, just like us. However, due to his great qualification, he receives the responsibility of administering the universe, just like a king or president. It may look like a prestigious position, but it's actually a quite difficult job. Most of us already have trouble maintaining a small family with a few children. Imagine having the whole universe depending on you. It's narrated, for example, that a few cycles ago, Brahma fell asleep during one of his days, which triggered a partial devastation of the universe. This led to the appearance of Matsyavatara, who saved Manu and other beings from destruction. There was thus a happy end, but it illustrates how things can go wrong on Brahma's slightest inattentiveness. When a universe is destroyed, all the souls that take part of it enter into a state of deep sleep. Just like we have to sleep at the end of a busy day, everyone has to sleep during this period. It's just that this slumber lasts much longer. When Brahma finally wakes up, he has to recreate the universe from the material elements left from the previous cycle, allowing all the souls to get new bodies and start again their activities from where they stopped last time. The cycle of creation happens during a period of 1.728 million years in the beginning of each kalpa. During this period, Brahma has to recreate all the planets as well as to repopulate the universe, starting from the most elevated beings. One personality that has a pivotal role in this is Manu, who is in charge of creating the first representatives of each species in each planet, as well as supervising the universal affairs. Just like in the case of the Devas, Manu is not a name but a post that is occupied by different personalities at different times. As mentioned, Manu works in cooperation with the demigods to maintain the order of the cosmos. Each team of a Manu and different demigods live for a Manvantara, and there is a succession of 14 different teams during a Kalpa. If you try to do the calculation, the numbers will at first not add up. Each Manvantara corresponds to 71 Chaturyuga, and thus 14 Manvantaras correspond to just 994 Chaturyugas instead of 1000. This difference corresponds to the durations of the initial creation as well as the sanjas in the end of each Manvantara. We can say that each Manvantara includes 71 complete cycles of Chaturyugas, and there are a few other fragments left over corresponding to the sanjas. Including these fragments, the numbers adds up to exactly 4.32 billion years. According to the Vedas, we are in the 28th Chaturyuga of the 70th Manvantara of the current day of Brahma. In other words, we are close to the middle of his day. We can thus calculate that the universe already went through almost 1.973 billion years of this particular cycle of creation, which means there is 2.347 billion years to go, quite a long time. One could question how the Vedas can affirm that this particular universe we live on can be only 1.973 billion years old, at least in this particular iteration, since modern studies points that the universe is much older, based on measurements of the distances and radial velocities of the galaxies. The problem with this estimative is that it's based on the idea that the current distance and motion of the galaxies started with the Big Bang. When one accepts that the universe was created and put in motion by superior forces, this calculation loses its validity because the original position is unknown. Similarly, the age of our planet is estimated in 4.54 billion years by modern researchers, based on radiometric dating. The problem is that this process assumes that the material elements were formed at a certain time. It's believed that most uranium was formed in supernovae, for example, and the process of decay of radioactive elements started from there. If one accepts the Vedic version that our planet was created alongside the rest of the universe by a superior force from material elements that already existed previously, the calculation loses its validity. Therefore, instead of speculating based on insufficient evidence, one can just trust the information given in the Vedas, just like one can discover who is his father by asking his mother. In any case, these 1.973 billion years are nothing compared to the total age of the universe. According to the Vedas, we are in the first day of the 51st year of the life of Brahma. This means that our Brahma already lived half of his life, which means the universe already went through 18,000 cycles of creation and destruction. In total, our universe is more than 155 trillion years old. Mind-boggling, huh? Brahma lives for a total of 311.04 trillion years, an extremely long period of time. During this period, the universe goes through 36,000 cycles of creation and destruction, corresponding to the passage of his days and nights. After this period, Brahma finally reached the end of his life. With his death, the universe is completely destroyed. However, this is also not the end. After an equally long period, the universe is created again by Mahavishnu. There is a new Brahma and a new cycle of 311.04 trillion years starts. Again, all the different cycles repeat. That's actually the secret behind these detailed descriptions about the future offered in the Vedas. Time in your plane works in a circular way, with the same general events repeating cyclically, just like a theatrical performance that is staged again and again with the same script but different actors. The higher beings that transmitted this knowledge are able to see the circular nature of time, and they share this knowledge with us in the form of the Vedas, so we can understand how the cycles work and make the best out of it. We tend to think that our everyday events are so important, but they are actually just an imperceptible blip in the vast scale of universal affairs.